Hello and welcome to Case Closed. I'm your host, Charlie Langton. We will soon go inside an actual courtroom in the Warren District Court and see real small claims cases in action. Under Michigan law, small claims cases may be brought by individuals seeking $3,000 or less in damages. Neither side may be represented by an attorney in small claims, and the judge's decision is final. So now, let's go inside the courtroom with the first case, which is the case of the broken watch.
Thirty-seventh District Court is in session. Judge Schmer presiding. Please remove your hats and shut off your cell phones.
Mr. Adams, this is your case. Why are you suing Walmart?
Well, Your Honor, I took my watch to Walmart, which I do periodically, to have the batteries changed in it. And I gave it to the young man to change the battery. He looked at it, changed the battery, set the time, handed it back to me, and I left the store.
Okay.
A few minutes later, I looked at the watch, and it wasn't running.
Okay.
So I called back when I got to the house and told someone there that the watch wasn't running anymore. And they told me to come back and see someone at the store there about the watch.
Okay.
And I did that, and when I got back, the lady wasn't there, so I had to make a second trip. This time I talked to another young lady, and she took the watch, and when she took it apart, she broke the band, and she couldn't get in the watch. She said somebody put it back on too tight, whatever that was meant.
Well, when you took the watch in there the first time, you knew the battery was run down, right?
No, the battery wasn't all the way down. It was still running. I do it every 6
You
months.
just-
I change my batteries anyway.
This is your watch checkup
Yes, sir.
type of thing. Okay.
And I just buy a battery, make sure it doesn't run down.
All right. How much did you pay him when you went there the first time?
I got my receipt right here. I paid them $3.75, I believe it is.
$3.75?
Yes, sir.
That was just for the battery, right?
It's for the battery.
Did they take the band off, or they just replaced the battery? What did
No,
they do?
they broke the band when I went back to.
Well, no, I'm talking about the first time. Did they have to do anything to the band, or they just replaced the battery?
They just turned it over.
Right.
And snapped the back off and put a battery in there, I guess.
And gave it
I
back
didn't
to
see
you.
what he was doing.
And gave it back to you,
He
right?
didn't hand it back to me.
Okay. All right, then you went back a second time because it wasn't working.
And the lady was trying to get it back open. She couldn't. She broke the band
Okay.
while she was playing around with it, and she said she couldn't get it open.
Okay.
So she wrote me a note, which I have here, to bring back to someone else.
Okay.
So I go back a couple of days later when I called back, and the lady wasn't there that day. She was on leave or something. So I go back again, and I say, hey, you know, my watch is broke, and it won't run, and it broke the band, and, you know, I got all these problems with this thing here because I had a battery put in here.
Okay.
So I told her that all I wanted was my watch to run. You know, and if you couldn't get it to run, then just something to replace it. You know, give me something to compensate me for it because, you know, the watch is mine and I pay good money for it.
Sure, okay.
And she told me that there was nothing she could do and I had to call somebody else. I called them and they said they don't make adjustments and they would only replace my band that had already broke and the watch wasn't their fault.
Well, you're suing for $275, right?
Yes, sir.
How did you come up with $275?
That's what I paid for the watch.
So you want a whole new watch?
Who?
You want a whole new watch?
Home?
A whole. You want a new watch,
But this is what I paid for. This is the value of the watch.
and that's what you want. You want them to give
Yes,
you a
sir.
new watch.
Yes.
How has Walmart offered to pay any amount at all, or
I
what?
talked to Miss Lawson there after
Okay.
we came here for arbitration.
Okay.
They wouldn't do anything at arbitration. They said, we're not going to do anything.
All right.
So I called her back on
That's why you're here today.
5/6 at 11:15. And I talked to her, and she said, Walmart says they're not going to sell anything. We'll send Miss Isabella down there to see you in court. We're not going to do anything about it. We don't care anything about it.
All right.
So they
Well-
refused to come to any kind of settlement.
Well, does the watch work now?
No, sir, it's still broken.
Still doesn't work.
Still doesn't work.
And that battery that they put in the first time is still in there. Is that right?
Yes, sir, everything is still here.
Has anybody been able to get in the back of that watch? Any
They
other
did.
jeweler?
Oh, at jewelers?
Yeah, have you tried to
I
go
haven't let
anywhere
anybody
else?
touch it since they touched it.
Okay.
The plaintiff is saying that Walmart couldn't replace the battery, and then when Walmart tried to replace the battery, it broke the band. Plaintiff wants a new watch. Sounds logical. Let's see what Walmart has to say.
Well, what's your story here?
I didn't get involved in this until towards the end of it, but from my understanding, we changed the battery for him, and it was working when he left the store. From my understanding, I don't believe he contacted the store again for about 3 or 4 weeks. He came back in, that's when I
When did you go
talked to
back,
him.
sir? You went to the store, how
Called
soon
them when I
after?
got home that day. When I called there, the lady that I needed to talk to wasn't in. She was
Okay.
gone somewhere.
And then you went back?
I went back about 3 or 4 days later.
Okay, go ahead. That may not be true, Ms. Forsheim.
Okay,
Mr. Adams is saying it was a lot less than that.
Right, I understand that.
All right.
I didn't speak to him until he came in. It was about 3 weeks or so after his initial battery.
What's your position if they're
I'm an
wrong?
assistant manager at the
Okay,
store.
all right.
Okay, so I was called over when he came back in, and I asked him, was the watch working when he left? He said yes. I said, well, once you leave the store, it was working fine. There isn't anything that I can do. If you would like to take it to jewelers, you're going to have to take it to a jeweler to find out what happened to it. We did offer to replace the band, and he refused at that time.
So you didn't offer him any money, you just offered
No, to replace the band that was broken. Later on, we did offer, we asked him if he wanted to take it to a jeweler's or let us take it to a jeweler's to find out what was wrong with it. He refused that as well, so.
Well, all right. I mean, I guess, what is he supposed to do? I mean, he brought in a band, a watch, to have the battery replaced, and his testimony, which doesn't really dispute it, is that he went home and it didn't work.
Right.
He's still got a watch that doesn't work.
Right, but he's refused to let us have it to take it to a jeweler's to find out what was wrong with it, or he's refused to let us have it to put another band back on. He refused all those.
Mr. Adams, what about that?
So-
Why don't you let them take it to a jeweler to fix it?
They are the ones that had this thing open the last time it was open.
That's true.
And I didn't want anyone to come back and say that somebody else has been inside this watch, and that's why it didn't work. I saw no reason to give my watch to them after they done broke it, and I got nothing left to bring into court here.
How'd you come up with $275? Is that what you paid
That's
for
the
that
original
watch?
price of it, yes.
How old is the watch?
About 2.5, 3 years old.
Probably not worth $275 now, is it?
That's the only figure I have to give you to court,
Right,
Your Honor.
right. All right. Ms. Powell, is there anything you'd like to say?
Yes.
What's your position with Walmart?
I'm the jewelry department manager.
The what manager?
The jewelry department
The
manager.
jewelry department manager.
Yes.
Did you deal with this watch
Yeah,
yourself?
Yes, I did. Actually, Eddie is the one.
First or second time?
The second time.
Okay.
Eddie right here.
So you
is-
couldn't get that thing off, right?
No, that's not me. I'm
Well, that's
sorry.
somebody
I
else.
dealt with it when he came in to talk to me.
Okay. Did you try and get that thing off to put in a new battery?
I did.
You did?
Yeah,
You couldn't do it?
second
The second time? Oh, so you were the one he saw the second time?
Yeah.
Well, what he,
No,
First time.
the first time, Shatara did it, but she's now no longer working with us. So when he came in, the time that Isabel was here,
Yeah.
I opened up the back for him.
okay. And?
First time I opened up the back and it was easy. I noticed the battery wasn't good because I got
Right.
a checker. I checked it, replaced the new battery, put the back on, hand pressed it, and gave it back to him, charged him $295 for it.
Okay.
And then he come back. Somebody told me that he came back 2 or 3 weeks later or something like that, saying that we broke his watch.
Could you open that watch now?
Yeah, I needed tools.
Well, you don't have the tools, so
Yeah.
you can't do it now.
No.
All right, well, I just don't understand why something as simple as simply taking a watch into Walmart should be such a big deal. The batteries are replaced on watches all the time. I go and have the batteries in my watch replaced all the time. The jeweler opens up, puts in a new battery, and there's no big deal. I can't understand why in this case, nobody seems to be able to do that. Go ahead, ma'am.
When he came back, he talked to me, and I was trying to show him that his watch was actually running. The second hand was thumping. So
Thumping?
Yeah,
What do
it
you
was
mean
like
thumping?
it was like
Stuck.
yeah, from moving. But you could see it like just teetering like this. And I tried to show him that, and he had gotten upset at me and said that, he had vision problems and he couldn't see it. And I offered to replace the band for him, but I told him that I tried to show him, that it was thumping because it was obviously getting power. The battery was obviously good because it was getting power to make it, like kind of like quiver. And when he became upset, then that's when I called Isabel. And